And joining me now with reaction to the president's disastrous poll numbers is Minnesota Congresswoman Michele Bachmann is back on the program. Congresswoman, welcome back.
Thank you, Sean. Always a pleasure.
All right, well, look at these numbers. Job performance. Now, those that disapprove, you know what? Higher number for Obama. 59% are only somewhat confident he set the right goals for the country. 30% of people say they don't relate to Obama, and that was only 8% at the beginning of the presidency. And here's the one that got to me. Fewer than half of those polled give him high marks or positive marks when asked if they think the president is honest and straightforward. How do you interpret all this?
Well, I interpret it as a big five-alarm fire for the president right now, because not only are his approval ratings going down, but this also redounds negatively to Speaker Pelosi, her incumbents, and also to Harry Reid and his Democrat incumbents. This is not good news for the far left, but it's indicative of how great the American people are, because it says the American people want their country back. They want to go back to prosperity. They want to go back to peace through strength, and they're seeing that the policies of Obama are failures, and they aren't taking the United States in the right direction.
All right, these numbers are actually even higher than 1994, when you have 57% would rather elect a new member of Congress than re-elect a local representative. Can we really infer, what are we, 131 days now out of the midterm election? Can we interpret that to mean that the Democrats really are in for massive losses?
Well, it doesn't look good for them. There's no question. It's possible to turn things around, but right now, when you have even 1 in 4 Democrats saying that the president is mishandling the BP oil spill, the president is in real trouble, because he's also in trouble with his base. He's not only lost Republicans. Republicans have gelled together in support of their candidates, but he's lost the center, Sean. He's lost the independents, and now he's busy losing his base. As high as President Obama rose initially, we're seeing him descend almost as quickly. And it isn't that I think conservatives are rejoicing about this, because quite honestly, we all want to see the country work. We want to see jobs created. But when the president said, give me $1 trillion and I'll create 4 million jobs, and instead he lost 4 million jobs, it wasn't just the jobs he lost, Sean. He lost the confidence of investors, of small businessmen and women. He lost the confidence of the worker on the line, because what the president has promised, he hasn't been able to deliver.
Look, I think we're watching here a presidency in collapse. I really do. And we really haven't seen this in our lifetime here. It reminds me a lot of what happened to Jimmy Carter here. Almost every key indicator shows support for the president is cracking. The two examples that really, though, stand out in my mind, just this week, Nancy Pelosi sent out a DCC letter, and in it, she says in this, it's a fundraising letter, that she wants supporters to give contributions to help prevent subpoenas and investigations that would result in a GOP majority. And when Harry Reid's son drops his last name from his website and a campaign ad, it seems to me they're indicating that they think they expect a bloodbath.
Oh, I think they do. Their pollsters have taken a lot of polls recently, and those numbers are very well known in Washington, D.C. And those numbers say that Speaker Pelosi, in all likelihood, will lose her gavel in November if things continue the way they are. That doesn't mean that Republicans can just sit back and count the majority. They need to work very hard going forward. They need to get their message out appropriately to people in the country. And the same with Harry Reid. His numbers don't look good in Nevada. But again, the Democrats have had a financial advantage, so it's very important that Republicans raise their money, gather volunteers together. No one should take this election for granted. Just think what a difference one vote makes. In Minnesota, we provided the 60th vote in the Senate that gave us government takeover of health care. Every vote and every seat matters. We have to work very hard so that we can take our country back.
You know, here's what I don't understand. You would think, I know the president's going out there with a propaganda campaign this summer trying to claim that, you know, this is their great economic recovery. The American people aren't seeing that. We're not seeing it in the unemployment numbers. We're not seeing it in housing. Every indicator is that we may actually be headed for a double dip. And then we've got the issue of the oil spill. I mean, there was a report out today that 8 miles of, quote, sticky goo staining the beaches of Pensacola and the Panhandle, and still they don't seem to have a handle on how severe this crisis is. What do you think's going on in the White House? Well, they ran such a good campaign. Frankly, I'm surprised they don't get this.
Well, that's right, and we don't get an indication that they fully appreciate the breadth of how the floor has dropped out from underneath them. I was in Pensacola not that long ago, and they are the most pristine, beautiful beaches, and it's so tragic when you see marine life covered in, and wildlife covered in the oil and the sludge, and realize the devastating impact that all of this has. And then when you see that the White House pulled back on dredging from some of these beautiful beaches, people aren't seeing competence. And again, that's what President Obama said he was going to be. He mocked the former president's reaction in the Katrina issue, but the president now, President Obama, is not demonstrating competence to the American people in his handling not only of this disaster, but he's been given a long time to deal with the economy, and he's not been able to turn it around with runaway spending and runaway deficits.
In my mind, this is all predictable. You know what? Carter economics, socialism's never worked. Free market enterprise works.